Little surprises around every corner, but nothing dangerous.
Even as adults, something about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory draws us to it. What is that? The answer is simple. It's a horror film disguised as a children's movie.
I doubt if any of us will get out of here alive.
Augustus!
Holy Toledo, what's happening to your face?
This video is going to get sinister. Your favorite childhood film is about to be awash with gore, darkness, and flat-out terrible people. From behind-the-scenes mischief to realistic, troubling theories, our latest video covers all the darkness in Willy Wonka.
Remember you once asked me how a bullet comes out of a gun?
Grab a seat. They're going fast. You've noticed it all subconsciously. The way the whole tour works out in Willy Wonka's favor can't just be a coincidence. There's just no way things line up so perfectly for him. It was all planned out. Look at the seats in every vehicle from the SS Wonkatanya to the glass elevator. It always has just the right amount of space for the people left. There's no magic here. Wonka clearly planned for certain kids to fall out over the course of the factory tour. He wanted those kids to fail in fantastic ways. Grandpa Joe's long con. Willy Wonka isn't the only villain in the film. He's the main subject, but there are other dark actors in this movie.
Say hello to your Grandpa Joe.
Okay.
For instance, did you know there's an entire subreddit on Reddit dedicated to hate for Grandpa Joe? Well, honestly, the hate makes sense. Grandpa Joe is bedridden and unable to leave the house, yet somehow, some way, when Charlie gets the golden ticket, he springs up like he's been walking the entire time. He's been making his daughter work long hours for his comfort under the guise of fake health issues.
Good morning! Look at the sun!
Child wonderment. You know all about the one behind-the-scenes fact every film student brings up when you watch this film with them. Yes, the children did in fact have genuine reactions to the Chocolate River and Edible Candyland. They weren't let in until that first take to make the reaction genuine. However, they brag about the children's wonderment while leaving out a more crucial scene. The director also didn't tell Charlie that Willy Wonka was going to yell at him in the climactic ending. His reaction of hurt and fear is actually genuine. What's Willy been eating? The Wonka mythology states the famous chocolatier has been holed up in his factory for decades. No one has seen him in quite some time, and he never leaves the factory. Taking these facts into account, compare Johnny Depp's Wonka to Gene Wilder's Wonka. Notice how pale Depp's character is. That's what he's supposed to look like. But what did either of them eat that whole time? Candy? We're guessing the Oompa Loompa population may have been cut down over time. Also, how did Wilder's Wonka get so dang tan while staying in a factory? Gateway to horror. This entry isn't about Wonka holding a secret, it's the secret one of your friends or family members is holding onto right now. You have that one person in your life that loves horror films, right? Well, you might even be that person. Well, we know where a lot of you get the itch. It turns out Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is seen as a gateway movie. Many fans say it's what got them comfortable with the tropes and ideas behind the most popular horror films. More to come on this subject.
I want to play a game.
Don't lose your head, Augustus. We wouldn't want anyone to lose that. Yet.
No one lick the wallpaper. The private broadcast companies have a huge say in what cut of the film makes it to television. This fact goes past the Willy Wonka film, but you can see what that control gets you with this entry. Turns out Fox cut out some scenes they didn't think were appropriate for children. One such scene is the lickable wallpaper. It's simply another fantastic Wonka invention, so why get rid of it? Oh well, maybe because licking that wallpaper resembled a certain hallucinogenic that they didn't want the scene to be associated with. Spoiled rotten. Oh man, the moment we get to see that chocolate river is so special. We all loved the magic of seeing endless chocolate running through an edible playground of candy. We didn't think it could possibly be real. Well, it turns out that was actually a chocolate river. Yeah, they made it happen. Of course, to make liquid chocolate, you need lots of cream to get it to flow like that. And then there was the fact that they only needed the river for a few scenes. What happened afterwards? The river spoiled and reeked for days. Wasp, not bees. The bees in the bubblegum machine are another little detail that helped make the world come to life. It's a blink and you'll miss a moment. However, even then, you'd never know those harmless little bumblebees were actually full-grown wasps. Paris Themin, the boy who played Mike TV, put them in the prop as a prank. Well, it completely backfired and he was stung multiple times in the face. Yeah, nothing is ever as innocent as it appears here in Wonkaland. Bees turn into wasps and chocolate rivers turn to butter. Dahl disliked the movie. Roald Dahl was a famous children's book author known for more than just Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He was extremely protective of his stories and wanted them to be done right. So obviously, renaming the film and adapting a bunch of parts didn't garner favor with Dahl. Maybe he also noted the darker side to his work that was coming out. He certainly embraced the dark aspects of life in his writing, but this film seemed to only focus on those parts in this book. Dahl knew it, and we should have known it sooner. Wax takes a toll. The whole Chocolate River part of the factory is supposed to be edible. We all know that lie, but parts were actually edible. We can focus on that happy fact or remind you of the more crude side of this moment. More specifically, Wonka's little teeny bite into a teacup. You see, that prop was not edible. It was made entirely out of wax. So Wilder would take a bite, then spit it out. Tasting wax is already terrible, and then add into the fact that it took multiple takes. Jeez, what a special kind of torture. Sprinkle in a touch of reality. When watching the movie, you have to suspend your disbelief. In fact, a whole lot of fantasy movies require you to do this, but add a touch of reality into Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and things get straight up sinister. A few special effects artists went back to this 1971 cult classic and added some visual effects to add a bit of reality to the film. Let's just say a lot of those light-hearted punishments the kids get turned out a lot darker. Poor Augustus. That clog-up does not end well. Wooden chocolate. Boy, oh boy, that Wonka chocolate sure looks delicious, right? You were likely tempted to reach out and try and grab it from the screen like Wonka intended. Well, don't. No, seriously, that chocolate is a complete lie. Here's the truth. Chocolate melts, and they need a whole lot of takes to make movie magic. Getting actual chocolate for every single scene would be super expensive. Anywhere you don't see a character eat the chocolate bar, the thing is actually just a piece of wood. You see, even the famous chocolate didn't truly exist in this film. Willy Wonka 2: Snowpiercer. This entry is less about the original film adaptation and more about a special fan theory. YouTuber Rhino Stew expanded upon this theory created by comedian Kevin Marr. They all recognize the darkness inherent in this story and why it connects to Bong Joon-ho's dystopian movie, Snowpiercer. Charlie Bucket is the adult version of Wilford. He changed his name to protect his family and expanded on Wonka's fortune.
I am old. I want you to take my station.
Because I'm giving it to you.
You're giving Charlie the...
I can't go on forever.
He uses the train to enact the same process Wonka did, only this time, we don't pretend it's a kid's movie. They show the real stakes that kind of process brings out.
Your people.
The Oompa Loompas were ready. Everyone loves the Oompa Loompa songs. Regardless of which version we're discussing, there's at least one song you find incredibly catchy. In Dahl's book, there's only one song that the Oompa Loompas sing during Charlie's time at the factory, yet you obviously know there are way more songs in the actual movie. What does this tell us? That the Oompa Loompas were prepared for each kid to fail.
I do say that all seemed rather rehearsed.
Like they knew it was gonna happen.
Where did Joe's chocolate come from? Okay, we're back to more Grandpa Joe hate because the guy deserves it. It feels terrible saying that about an old man, but it's so true. He exploited his boy.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Charlie.
On top of that, he had to be hiding funds somewhere. He pulls out a chocolate bar from nowhere for him and Charlie to open up together. It's not the one, but where did Grandpa Joe get it from, huh? The Candyman hates Charlie. Speaking of terrible people, let's talk about the Candyman for a second. All the children in the neighborhood love him, and Charlie has dreams of being a part of the group that can get all the candy they can afford. Well, take a closer look at that first song. He gives out loads of candy without charging a single kid. Oh, he's just the best, giving it all out to the richer kids in town. The minute Charlie comes in, suddenly the beloved Candyman gets rude and stingy. Let's face it, the Candyman is a classist. Dress rehearsal? Have you ever noticed how there's actually not enough Oompa Loompas in the factory for it to operate efficiently? Well, let's just say it's probable that some of them helped Wonka experiment with his traps to ensure that they would go off as intended. Imagine all the workers lost to Wonka's horrible, terror-filled scheme.
That's exploding candy for your enemies. Great idea, isn't it?
It's all a commercial. Time to reel it back and take a view of this film from a more corporate place. The original release and distribution of the film was pushed by Quaker Oats and their brands. When the film flopped, the companies involved dropped the film rights to place it on television. Sure, they lost out on money there, but Quaker had other ideas. See, the entire thing was just a ploy to sell Wonka-themed candy. Everything you enjoyed about that movie was funded with the intent to advertise products. Talk about the dark side. Gene Wilder was wild. Gene Wilder was a brilliant actor. The dark secret is that he did it all on his own. Part of his deal for the film gave him creative control of his character. The wacky and scarring tunnel poem that put the fear of God in you as a child was entirely Wilder. Not the words, just the way he did it.
Or which way the river's flowing.
It's a slasher flick. Okay, let's wrap this all up in one simple entry. Once fans of the movie take this gateway film into horror heaven, they come back to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and see a much different film. They see a madman taking kids down one by one. Wonka is Jason, and the golden ticket winners are the Crystal Lake Counselors, which makes Charlie Bucket the final girl. He barely survives the wicked traps and makes it to the end of that horrifying factory maze. Finally, now you see the real plot.
Adieu. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Phew! Let's take a breath and process that list. Which entry surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Binger for more great content. Our followers enjoy daily videos about all things binge-worthy. So what are you waiting for? Hop aboard!